Welcome to Customized Creations again. We're now doing a small trigger pull test on the stock trigger, an entirely stock gun. It's been refinished. We did this. I bought this gun as a test base to try out some triggers and other parts we're going to manufacture for the Beretta here. So can't tell you an honest round count out of it, other than I've probably put 4,000 or 5,000 rounds through it myself. The gun shoots really well. I would say on average it's probably about the typical 92 that you would see out there in the field as a used gun. So basically we're going to do a couple trigger pull tests. We're going to do 5 pulls on it, take the average, swap the triggers, do 5 more pulls, and then see if we got any change between the two. 4.25 pounds in single action, 3.11, 3.109, 3.12, 3.12, which then averages out 4.5 is probably from some previous pulls. So we're going to clear that out. We'll do it one more time here. 4.0, 3.11, 3.14, 3.15, 3.12, with an average of 3.14.2. Okay, we now have the skeleton trigger installed. We're going to do 5 pulls and take the average of this again. See, we're at 0 there. .12, 3.10, 3.76, 3.8, 3.9, with an average of 3.96. So you can see roughly, it looks like the trigger offers a slight reduction in trigger pull. I'm not going to advertise it as a reduction pull trigger really, because it's pretty darn close. But basically what you can see is that out of 5 averaged pulls, it's a slightly less trigger pull, so a little bit more of an advantage there over the factory trigger. The flat face, I think, and then further forward the trigger is and everything, as far as in conjunction the way the factory trigger is, being a little bit skinnier than our skeleton trigger, puts the finger a little bit farther forward in more of an area where you have more muscle control of the finger. And I think that is going to be something that you'll realize greatly over the, I don't want to call it a short trigger, but the factory trigger like that seems like it's pretty far back. This moves it forward a little bit, and it puts you into a stronger area with your finger, where I think it's going to give you a perceived notion that possibly the trigger itself is reducing the trigger pull, where it's reducing it a little bit, but I don't think, you know, it's really more of a perceived notion because it's easier for you to pull with your finger because you're in a better area for your finger to be in contact pulling the trigger back. So we will have some other triggers that will have some reduced capabilities, as long as with the over travel and pre-travel reductions. This one does have an over travel. It's a direct drop-in trigger with no fitting required. The other triggers will require some fitting. We'll advertise those later, and we'll get these out the door. So take a look, check out the other videos. We're going to do a video shooting of it pretty soon here. You can see how it works. But all in all, this is a very nice trigger with the flat surface and the reduction in over travel and that slight reduction in the trigger pull. It's going to be a very good bargain for you to be putting an aftermarket trigger into the gun.